I was thinking the guy has a funny voice. You think I got a funny voice? I thought the guy had a funny voice. I mean, funny. And he was talking bad about Sean Strickland. So I type in there. And you should have seen Rigo's eyes. They're like lit up like, oh my God, there's a straight guy in here. He looked like a deer in headlights. I couldn't believe it. I was like, man, I didn't say that, Mike. I'm just like, hey, stop talking about my friend Sean Strickland. And he was like, oh my God, there's a straight person in here. I mean, I didn't realize it right at the second. But I learned it pretty quick. I'm like, I'm out. This is a gay channel. I'm like, I locked that in my head. The MMA Rigo YouTube channel is a gay channel. And you, MMA Rigo, dude, you are seriously, this is for like health reasons. This is what I'm saying to you, Rigo. You gotta, come on, man. It's like health reasons. You come clean, man. Stop grappling with the straight and the gay thing. Just own it. There's obviously a market for it. They're all in your chat. That's not, this is how we can open the show. How long are we going to hold the show, guys? Do you remember? Or are you guys too stoned? These guys hired me, they said they're going to help out and everything. Well, we're going to be this big team and everything. That's why we're getting the Heck and the Feck show. Me and Mike Heck and Simon Feck put together the Heck and the Feck show. Now, we've been putting this together for a little while, and I've been putting my input into it. And I don't really want to tell you, the input that Mike, I want to leave it to Mike. This was Mike Heck, what he, everything, all of his input into the show. Everything that Mike Heck has contributed to the show. Okay? Also, the Mike Heck and the Simon Feck, the Heck and Feck show is going to have Nina drama, plant privileges. Okay? I'm in the apex, he's in the apex, so to speak, okay? So we're in there. Alright, so we're going to open the show. And listen to me now. If you are a fan, if you're a fan of the MMA Rigo show, just go ahead and tune out, man. Okay? Because I'm Simon Feck, 1 foot cock. And I believe this is going to be the last show I'm doing here, Simon Feck, 1 foot cock. The Heck and the Feck show is going to go out and it's going to feck it in all the feckers out there. I mean, what the feck? You know what I'm saying? It's time to light this town on fire. MMA Rigo, get on the right team. You think you're on the Globetrotters, man. You're on the Nationals. You think you're on the home team. You're on the away team, dude. Okay? There's only 2 teams. The gay team and the straight team. And you claim to be on the straight team, like it says on your Wikipedia page. Dude, when you come back, okay? When you come back I mean, you're making the straight dude look bad. I mean, you understand that? The straight dude, the team that I'm on, it's unfair that you claim to be on the team that I'm on. Simon Feck, 1-foot cop. You need to be on the gay team, not the straight team. I got guys clown them all. The pedophile guy. Clown them all, that's right. It used to be called the Clown Show, something like that. I also learned about him back in October. I also learned about the MMA guru back in October. I've been hanging out in Apex since UFC 1. It wasn't called the Apex. UFC 1. Hanging around BKFC 1. Yeah. So anyways, Rigo, get on the correct team, man. There ain't no walking the fence either, man. If you're walking the fence, you're on the gay team. And here's another two, Rigo. Alright, let me introduce this to you right now. I didn't even do the opening of the show yet. The greatest referee of all time right here, Andrew Glenn. In the corner of the MMA window right here, can you see right here? Jesse on fire here. Jesse on fire, can you see it? Let's move around a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe get the backside look. There you go. Get the full 360. I mean, these three guys up here, not Andrew Glenn, but these three guys up here, they like do 360, let me tell you. That's like Simon Feck, 1-foot cop. Jesse on fire. Hey, you know, Mr. 360. MMA Regal, Mr. 360. Also, right here, I didn't know the guy's name. I've only seen the show a couple times. Probably the best MMA show on the market. MMA Holes. People were kind of saying his name the other day when I was watching the show. I don't know, is his name Stu or something? Last is probably Pitt, P-I-T-T, Stu Pitt. Anyways, MMA Holes right here in the corner for MMA Revo. These two stupid idiots right here are the ones that brought you MMA Revo. If you got a complaint about MMA Revo, you should go to Jesse on Fire and MMA Holes. Thanks for bringing MMA Revo in. The guy that doesn't know what team he's on. That's it. We're going to start the show here in a minute. I want you guys to erase everything so far, and we're going to start over. Because this is my last show here. I want a good show. I mean, I want this show to come on at least 15, 30, 40 views. At least. You thought I was going to say 1,000. Every camera can't see it, but right here, look at this. Every camera can't see it, but right here, you see it right here? Simon Feck, right? We broadcasted 48K. Not 4K, 48K. You see that right there? Nobody can do that. Simon Feck, 1-foot cop, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, so let's start the show. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Started over, bookmark it, trademark, whatever it's timestamp it, whatever it's called. Okay? Get ready, we're going to start the show right here. What a piece of Alright, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, let's act like we just got here, right? gentlemen, Simon Feck here, 1 Foot Pop. And remember, people, I want you to remember this. If you can't remember anything of this show, when you get done here, just keep in your head, remember this, people. Ladies and gentlemen, Simon Feck here, 1 Foot Pop. I want you to remember, ladies and gentlemen, remember, never suck balls. You hear me? Ladies and gentlemen, never suck balls. Because if you suck balls, you get canceled. Like MMA Rigo. MMA Rigo sucks balls. You heard me, ladies and gentlemen. MMA Rigo sucks balls. Don't suck balls like MMA Rigo, people. Simon Feck here, 1 Foot Pop. That's right. You heard it. MMA Rigo doesn't know what team he's on. MMA Rigo's delusional about what team he's on. MMA Rigo. Dude, you're not on the straight team. Okay? I'm seeing the chat, man. You need to ban some words. I'll help you out. MMA Rigo, I'll help you out, buddy. Okay? MMA Rigo gets mad because people call him gay or something, you know. What you do, here's what you do. MMA Rigo, this is how to solve the problem. Because I was in there the other day, and you're going on about what's more gay? A blowing a guy, fucking a guy. I mean, you serious? It's MMA. And you're talking about that. What's more gay, a guy that wears rings or a guy that wears bracelets? What's more gay? I mean, it went on for an hour and a half, and I'm like, where's the MMA part? So you get mad when people go in there and they call you gay. You know what? That's a straight person saying that. Most likely. Go in there, you could ban words from them typing. This will solve your problem on that Rigo. Ban the word gay. Ban the word faggot. Ban the word homosexual. Ban the word butthole. Ban the word ass. Just go on, look it up, look what other words like twink. I looked that up to make this sign right over here about you. And I thought I was making up a word twink. You know, the twink. There's a word in it. Go in there and find out what people use, other words they use for a certain subject. Put in gay, look at all the other words. Ban every one of those words. I'm getting somewhere, you hear me? MMA Rigo, ban all those words. Then the people can't call you gay. And then therefore, you won't have any gay comments in chats. And then you can talk about MMA stuff and skateboard stuff. You know, like fucking chicks and stuff. You know, birds. You call yourself an eagle. I might look like a black crow, but yeah, I'm in the apex, right? We started that, right? I'm in the apex. You know what's right by the apex? It's the Air Force. We'll get to that in a minute. Simon Feck here. 1 Foot. Matter of fact, right here. You call yourself an eagle. I'm a thunderbird, dude. Here's a challenge coin. I don't know if you can see it. Where is it? Do you have it?
No.
There it is. Oh, it's this one, isn't it? Hey, what camera we got going on here? Alright, let's do this camera. Right here. That's a Thunderbird challenge camera.
Please.
Yeah. This is a grow on trees. You know? I'm a bird. Stop calling yourself an eagle. The screaming eagles are the unit. Stop calling yourself an eagle and a broken beak. You ain't nothing but a broken twig, is what you are. Thunderbird right now. Thoughts on going to Apex. That station there, man. Now look what side effects into. You see this right? Anybody see it? Side effects has got a small YouTube channel. Dude, I got a big channel somewhere else. The MMA guru knows not to mess with me. The MMA guru's been watching me longer than anybody else. Now everybody else is coming out starting to watch me now. Exactly what we want. We're not looking for views. We're just looking for anybody to see it. All you gotta do is see it. I can call Daily White any second. I know all of these guys. There's a message coming. We're going to wait till the MMA guru gets over here in the United States. He knows it. I don't think he's going to come. He says it's coming. But right now we're getting permission to talk about the MMA regal. Then we got MMA holds, Bruce Buffer, and the clown of all guy. Getting paid for every one of those. Sometimes it's not the views, right? As long as you get paid, go ahead and make fun of Side Effect and Side Effect 1 Foot Cock Show. And then these two idiots over here. We got about 20 or 30 things to get to. Okay?
Ladies.
But first, I'm going to introduce everybody up here.
Ladies and gentlemen, that MMA guru, baby, is in the building.
That's another thing, too, the MMA holes guy. I go on this chat the other day, live stream, and I type something. He goes, hey, you're that guy that plays around with dolls and toys and stuff. I mean, what's up with you, man? I mean, you're playing with toys. I swear to God.
Ain't nobody playing with fucking toys around here.
So, I go and I come right back in. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm going to talk to this guy. And he's holding up, he's sponsored by somebody who's selling a figurine. And he's holding up a figurine. And it's 30 seconds after that, he's holding up a figurine. Yeah, we're wanting like 16,000 freaking toys in his thing. Then you look at all of the MMA fighting on SBN. All you guys got toys and everything in the crowd.
Yeah!
That stuff. The stuff that you got, that stuff every people can
Yeah!
see.
Yeah! 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 Ladies and gentlemen, the MMA guru here, ladies and gentlemen. The big fat slob, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. The MMA guru. The MMA guru, ladies and gentlemen. The big fat slob himself, ladies and gentlemen. The guy that goes around wrecking everybody's lives, ladies and gentlemen, according to Sean Strickland. And that was, Strickland got that from Side Effect 1 Foot Cock, ladies and gentlemen. That sounds like a battle, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, the MMA guru ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, already trouble in the house. This Simon Feck studio sucks balls. And matter of fact, besides Simon Feck sucking balls, you know who suck balls? The Fight Fairy. The Fight Fairy doesn't suck balls. Keep that in mind. The Fight Fairy does not suck balls. That's according to the MMA guru, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. What a show we have today, ladies and gentlemen. With the big fat guru. 6'4", 385 pounds, ladies and gentlemen. As a matter of fact, I'm the MMA guru and I can kick Demetrius Johnson's ass. I've been saying it for years, but now I'm sucking his dick. Ladies and gentlemen. I heard Simon Feck finally answered the chat last night. Well, I had somebody come in my chat last night. I've been having people chat for 3.5 months talking about Simon Feck. So I thought I'd come over and see Simon Feck. And what a shit studio this is, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, the big guru. Ladies and gentlemen, the big fat guru. Scared to death of Simon Feck. But now I'm here. Simon Feck studio. Ladies and gentlemen, MMA guru here. And I just want to tell you that Simon Feck sucks balls. But you know who doesn't suck balls? The Fight Fairy. The Fight Fairy doesn't suck balls, ladies and gentlemen. The MMA guru. The big fat slob. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, I gotta get catchphrases like Simon Feck. Simon Feck had catchphrases. What is mine? People forget, man. You know, people forget. That's Joe Rogan's catchphrase. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I don't have anything. All I have is impressions of other people. What am I? I mean, Simon Feck is like the best thing going, ladies and gentlemen. People won't stop going in my chat and talking about Simon Feck. I have to skip it all, ladies and gentlemen, and I make sure all my members are told that you just lose your money if you ever bring up Simon Feck. Do not go on Feck's YouTube channel. If I catch you on there, gone. You're banned. The MMA guru, I'm talking about myself, the MMA guru, I ban anyone who talks about Simon Feck, that 1-foot cock guy. Why do they call Simon Feck 1-foot cock? When Robert Whittaker has the biggest penis in the UFC, ladies and gentlemen. He happens to be my favorite fighter, ladies and gentlemen. My favorite fighter, the MMA guru, my favorite fighter is Robert Whittaker. Robert Whittaker has the biggest penis in the UFC, ladies and gentlemen. I don't even know if his wife Sophia knows, ladies and gentlemen. I, the MMA guru, have been watching the Simon Feck show so much, I am starting to act like Simon Feck, ladies and gentlemen. It's crazy. It's amazing. He's the best thing going. I mean, even when I get taken down off of YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, I'll still be watching Simon Feck, ladies and gentlemen, because Simon Feck, 1 foot cock. Now, why do you call Simon Feck 1 foot cock, ladies and gentlemen? And why am I wearing a jailbird suit, ladies and gentlemen? Why are these numbers right here? You see these numbers right here? If you, and look me up, the MMA Guru, on my license in London, England. If you look it up, my ID number is the first 5 numbers here. It's the first 5 numbers is the last 5 numbers of my ID for the MMA Guru show. These other numbers right here, yeah, this is my prisoner number. It's already predetermined. If you look it up, I tell you what, Simon Feck's pretty clever. Ladies and gentlemen, Simon Feck. I mean, you can't out-Feck the Feck. So I had to give in and come on Simon Feck, ladies and gentlemen. Me, the MMA Guru, ladies and gentlemen. Ugh, Simon Feck. Ugh, I hate Simon Feck. Simon Feck's nothing but a Fecker, ladies and gentlemen. He's going around telling everybody that my cousin is Mick Parkin, the guy that trains underneath Tom Aspinall. Well, let me tell you something, people. He's correct, ladies and gentlemen. That son of a bitch, Simon Feck. Me, the MMA Guru, I hate Simon Feck, ladies and gentlemen. I also hate Tom Aspinall. He doesn't treat my cousin very good. You know my cousin Mick Parkin, the big stick of butter, ladies and gentlemen? My cousin sucks balls. My cousin Mick Parkin sucks balls, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to me. The MMA Guru going around saying, ladies and gentlemen. It's amazing. In my prisoner outfit, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a millionaire. I'm going to have to give money up. As a matter of fact, Simon Feck told me I better not be spending the money because I'm going to have to give it all back and some, ladies and gentlemen. When Dana White and David Feldman of the BKFC get a hold of me, ladies and gentlemen. But Simon Feck definitely is one of the best. No, he is the best. Simon Feck is the best YouTuber for the MMA world, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to get into why Tom Aspinall sucks balls. My cousin, Mick Parkin, ladies and gentlemen, the big stick of butter, is better Tom Aspinall, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to get into, let me tell you something. We're going to get into who John Jones should fight, ladies and gentlemen. And then we're going to take questions, ladies and gentlemen. The MMA Guru keeps saying, ladies and gentlemen, the Simon Feck must be wearing on the MMA Guru, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't make a bit of sense, ladies and gentlemen. Now, why do they call Simon Feck 1 foot cock? No wonder, here it is, no wonder Simon Feck complains about these guys. They just stare at you like idiots. Mike and Scott. Why do they call Simon Feck 1 foot cock? I mean, the MMA Guru is interested in people's penises, ladies and gentlemen. Interested in Robert Whittaker's penis because it's his favorite fighter. The MMA Guru goes around telling people that Robert Whittaker has the biggest penis in UFC. And that Robert Whittaker is his favorite fighter. And the MMA Guru goes around telling people that he could beat up Demetrius Johnson. And then he goes on Demetrius Johnson's show and sucks his dick. So last night, a poor guy came on. This poor guy, you know, he's a fan of the MMA Guru. A guy came on my chat last night. Found out he's a big fan of the MMA Guru. He was just curious if I had heard of Simon Feck, 1 foot. I thought the guy was giving me a hard time. He was just curious. But I banned the guy. You know why? Because I'm a fucking dick. I'm the MMA Guru, and I'm a fucking dick. I can hand everything out. I can dish it out. You know, I can do this, I can do that. When it comes back to me, I can't handle it. Because I'm MMA Guru, the big fat fucking turd. The MMA Guru is nothing but a fat turd. Now, Simon Feck is a good friend. His name's Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland watches the Simon Feck show. Sean Strickland gets the term that the MMA Guru is going around wrecking people's lives. So last night, that question came in also. So they said, hey, have you heard the thing about Sean Strickland saying that I go around wrecking people's lives? And I said, I haven't wrecked anybody's lives. Then I changed it up. I said, well, I haven't wrecked anybody's lives in about a couple months or so because I was watching Simon Feck's show and Simon Feck brought it to me. And I'm like, yeah, I do. I go around wrecking people's lives. But if you know, I have calmed down. The MMA Guru show is watered down. The only thing that the MMA Guru show is edgy about nowadays is stupid impressions. Hey, the MMA Guru, fucking stupid shit. And I'll tell you right now, I am the big fat MMA Guru, and I can't pick a fucking to save my fucking life. I suck balls. But the Fight Fairy doesn't suck any balls. We found that out. Listen to me. The Fight Fairy, you see this? The Fight Fairy is the Scissor King, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here from the MMA Guru that the Fight Fairy is the Scissor King, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, she likes the scissor. She likes to take your money. All you guys. She fizzes up the guys and rizzes up the girls, ladies and gentlemen. All you guys in there are idiots. Like the people that come into the MMA Guru chat and just ask me to do impressions. And stupid shit, too. It's just stupid shit after shit. So my advisors told me, the MMA Guru, my advisors told me, I need to change the format. It's getting old, ladies and gentlemen. And then by the time Simon Feck gets a hold of me, I better take my money bags and run. Have you heard I'm trying to go to a different country? That's right. Ladies and gentlemen. Alright, I'm Simon Feck, 1 foot cock, ladies and gentlemen. You know why I say that? I don't know why Simon Feck says it, but I'm saying it because I like big penises. My name's the MMA Guru, and Robert Whitaker has the biggest penis in the UFC, ladies and gentlemen. Robert Whitaker is my favorite fighter, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the MMA Guru. Here's my prisoner number. Dana White. How you like that shit? Is anybody in the chat? Let's take a look. These idiots over here. Now, I know why Simon Feck complains about you idiots. Why does the person up here gotta run everything? Why don't you guys do something? Looks like we got people in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. What do we got, like 3 things in here? You gotta be kidding me, ladies and gentlemen. Probably some stuff like They hate me and everything. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what? Simon Feck's one of the best motherfuckers around on the planet, ladies and gentlemen. Then later, me, the MMA guru, we're going to go over who should fight John Jones. Who should fight John Jones for? Tom Aspinall. Because Tom Aspinall sucks balls, ladies and gentlemen. So we got musical MMA. Yeah, woo! Yeah. Just like Ric Flair, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, woo! My alligator wearing, limousine riding, son of a gun, jet flying. I'll be 30,000 feet in the air, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Flair, motherfucker. Yeah. How about that shit, Dusty Road, goddamn son of a bitch? Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, musical MMA, ladies and gentlemen, you need to check out his song with the Sewer King, ladies and gentlemen, about needed drama. It's called Man Eater, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm the MMA guru, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! Yeah! Yeah! Musical MMA, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah! Yeah! If you haven't heard of the musical MMA, then, I mean, what is my job, ladies and gentlemen? I should be pulling the shit out of the MMA, or whatever his name is, MMA guru and musical MMA, ladies and gentlemen. See what else we got here, ladies and gentlemen. Why am I the MMA guru and I'm saying ladies and gentlemen, man? See what I'm saying? This definitely fucked up. What in the world is going on? And we did this out very good because you can't see the fucking thing. You can barely understand me. Well, let me tell you something. You can understand me if you want to understand me. Gotta pay attention. Wait till it comes out. Wait till the words come across the screen, ladies and gentlemen. I understand it's difficult. Some of it's visual. Later on, there's going to be commentary. In another month or two, there's going to be commentary over the top of the videos. See, it's going to start making sense. Everybody keeps telling Simon Feck, fix the voice, fix the voice. These aren't one-time over videos. You know how people do reaction videos? Simon Feck has a team that are going to do reaction videos over the top of these videos. With the different voice that comes over the top. Ladies and gentlemen. Yeah! Yeah! The MMA guru, ladies and gentlemen. And there's a few more cameras around here. The live feed is just for up here. It's really not for the audio. I'm sorry. There's not enough cameras around here, ladies and gentlemen. Now, ladies and gentlemen from Cheddarhead, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, Cheddarhead in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah! I'm the MMA guru, Cheddarhead in the building. Yeah! Yeah! That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Cheddarhead, the good friend of the musical MMA, ladies and gentlemen. I am MMA Rio. Or I don't even, how do I know what I am? I certainly messed that one up, didn't I, ladies and gentlemen? Let's start it over again. We can get a good short out of it. All right, in the chat right here, Cheddarhead. Yeah, I forgot what Cheddarhead said because a big stupid idiot, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, Cheddarhead just said in the chat, ladies and gentlemen, Cheddarhead in the building, ladies and gentlemen. I am the MMA guru. Yeah, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen. Cheddarhead in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so I think that's it for the chat, right? Now we're going to go through, ladies and gentlemen, right here. You got to be kidding me, man. Ladies and gentlemen. All right, on with the show, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, the MMA guru here, and I just want to tell you, Tom Aspinall does not deserve Jon Jones. Let's go over the top 10 who deserved the fight. Jon Jones, ladies and gentlemen. Right here, ladies and right here. The losing corner, because he's on the losing side right here, ladies and gentlemen. The man that's going to be in the corner for every loser that's going to go up against Jon Jones, ladies and gentlemen, right here. You see him right here. Ladies and gentlemen, the MMA holes guy. His name's Moss. He's a loser. That's why he's going to be opposite of Jon Jones. You see Jon Jones right here? Ladies and gentlemen, Jon Jones. Tom Aspinall sucks balls. I'm the guru and I told you so. Ladies and gentlemen, right here, the Sewer King is more deserving to fight Jon Jones, Tom Aspinall, and his dog right here, Izzy. The Sewer King and Israel Adesanya is more deserving to fight Jon Jones than Tom Aspinall, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, you heard it. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Who do we got next? Ladies and gentlemen, right here. Next up, more deserving to fight Tom Aspinall, the guy that my cousin Nick Parkin is with. That's right, I'm the MMA guru, and my cousin is Mick Parkin, and he trains with Tom Aspinall. That's how I know Tom Aspinall sucks balls, because I'm the MMA guru, ladies and gentlemen. Right here, more deserving to fight Jon Jones, right here, ladies and gentlemen. You see him right here. MMA Rigo, ladies and gentlemen. With his corner, the MMA holes, is more deserving to fight Jon Jones than Tom Aspinall, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, more deserving. I'm the MMA guru. More deserving to fight Tom Aspinall, ladies and gentlemen. Right here, ladies and gentlemen, Vitali from the Filipino prison. Ladies and gentlemen, Vitali is more deserving to Tom Aspinall than... Man, you guys got to listen to me. You got to stop taking me out to the railroad, man. I'm not used to that stuff. It's got my head all messed up. Ladies and gentlemen, more deserving to fight Jon Jones right here is Vitali, ladies and gentlemen. Straight out of Filipino prison, ladies and gentlemen. He is more apt, better equipped to fight Jon Jones than Tom Aspinall, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, you heard it here on the MMA Guru Show. Yeah! Yeah! Gentlemen. More deserving to fight Jon Jones than Tom Aspinall, ladies and gentlemen. Right here, John Cena, ladies and gentlemen. You see him? Maybe you don't see him. The MMA Guru right here says that John Cena is more deserving to fight John Jones than Tom Aspinall, ladies and gentlemen. John Cena, ladies and gentlemen, cornered by the Holes guy. The MMA Holes guy, his clam. You know that chick has his clam? His clam is hot. I just thought I'd throw that in there, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, more deserving fight Tom Aspinall. Why do I keep saying that? Ladies and gentlemen, more deserving to fight John Jones than Tom Aspinall, ladies and gentlemen, right here, the big dummy, Dan Merculata, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Let me tell you something. Never eat pizza with Dan Merculata, ladies and gentlemen. I know that. I'm the MMA guru, ladies and gentlemen. Right here, more deserving than Tom Aspinall, right here, to fight John Jones. Right here, the big dummy Dan Merculata, ladies and gentlemen. The referee, Dan Merculata, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, more deserving to fight John Jones than Tom Aspinall, right here. You see him right here. You see the blue? You see the blue and the red and the white there? That's a flag, ladies and gentlemen. More deserving to fight John Jones than Tom Aspinall, right here. Bong Bong Marcos, ladies and gentlemen. That's the Filipino president that personally owes the United States $325 million personally, not the country, personally, for treating his people badly. That's right. The guy that's talking about Vitality going down there. I met Vitality. I'm the MMA guru. I met everybody. You know what I mean? Ladies and gentlemen, Bong Bong Marcos versus John Jones. That's a better fight than the Aspinall fight, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it right here. Ladies and gentlemen, right here, more deserving musical MMA. He'll like this one, I think, ladies and gentlemen. More deserving. If this bitch will stand up, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, right here, more deserving to fight John Jones than Tom Aspinall, ladies and gentlemen, right here. You see it right here. Ladies and gentlemen, the UFC plant named drama. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Today's MMA Guru show on the Simon Feck Show is sponsored by New Drama's Talking Showerhead, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. The New Drama Talking Showerhead is sponsoring the show that I'm on, the MMA Guru. I'm on the Simon Feck Show. It's sponsored by New Drama's Talking Showerhead. Nina Drama's Talking Showerhead is the best in the business. That's right. I mean, I wouldn't know. I'm the MMA guru. I go around telling people that Robert Whitaker has the biggest penis. Anyways, the Nina Drama Talking Shower gives you a nice shower. It also talks to you, gives you wisdom, gives you advice, tells you what to do. Hey, Nina Drama. Hey, Nina Drama. This is the Nina Drama Talking Showerhead. That's right. Nina Drama. You are more deserving to fight John Jones than Tom Aspinall. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it right here from the Nina Drama Talking Showerhead. See, Nina Drama Talking Showerhead is also the for Nina Drama, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. The Nina Drama Talking Show. Hey, Nina Drama. The general public's not believing that you're not a UFC plant. We have to change that. We're going to have to kick John Jones' ass. Now, why does the Nina Drama Talking Showerhead, why does it say ladies and gentlemen? You know why? Because Feck is the greatest MMA YouTuber on the planet. You heard it here. You heard it here from the MMA Guru, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, We got some more in the chat. We'll just keep Nina Drama up here right now. Cornering Nina Drama, ladies and gentlemen, is the MMA holes right here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what's in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully it's more hate mail, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you read it, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah! Yeah! We got stuff in the chat. Yeah! People were coming on my chat and talking about Simon Feck. I have been brushing off Simon Feck comments in my chat for months. Simon Feck has never told anybody to go in the chat. It's just people curious. But I can dish a lot of shit out, but I can't take shit because I'm a big, fat, 6 foot, 496 pound, 27-year-old fat tub of lard, ladies and gentlemen. As a matter of fact, I, ladies and gentlemen, right here, you see it right here, you see it, more deserving, ladies and gentlemen, more deserving to fight John Jones than Tom Aspinall right here, ladies and gentlemen, the big tub of lard, the MMA guru. You see it right here. You're hearing it from the MMA guru. The MMA guru is more apt, better equipped to fight John Jones than Tom Aspinall, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here. The MMA guru right here, the big tub of lard, ladies and gentlemen, would do a better job against Jones than Tom Aspinall, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here. Ladies and gentlemen, right here, you see it right here. Can you see it? Right there. Ladies and gentlemen, more desire to fight John Jones right here. You hear it from the MMA guru right here. My cousin, the big stick of butter, Mick Parkin, ladies and gentlemen. More deserving to fight John Jones than Tom Aspinall right here, the big stick of butter, Michael Parkin, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Guy can't even beat up Tuborgo or whatever his name is. Fucking bullshit, you know what I'm saying? All right, what do we got here? Let's see if I can read this. Looking in these bright lights, I can't see nothing, ladies and gentlemen. What that actual duck is this? That's right. I mean, I know what you're saying, man. Ship fire Aspinall, give belt to Big Ant. There you go. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You look like a Sark character. That's right. I am Simon Feck. We're going to give the belt. That's right. We're going to give the belt to Big Ant. Ladies and yeah. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. The MMA guru right here. Ladies and gentlemen. Let's forget about Tom Aspinall and have John Jones stripped of his belt and give it to Big Ant. You heard it here from the MMA guru, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Yeah. Big Ant. Yeah. Yeah. Big Ant. Yeah. I'm a millionaire. Yeah. 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 Ant, ladies and gentlemen. Big Ant should have the belt, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it. That's right. I look like the South Park character. My name is South Park MMA Guru. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see who else we got here. We'll take the big stick of butter, Mick Parkin, my cousin of the MMA Guru. I know that's weird, right? Ladies and gentlemen, right here, with his legs backwards, right here. Let's do a good one here. Ladies and gentlemen, right here. This man should be fighting John Jones over the top of Tom Aspinall. Ladies and gentlemen, right here, you're hearing it from the MMA guru right here. This man right here, Clay Guida right here, taking on John Jones, UFC Arkansas, with Bryce Mitchell looking on, ladies and gentlemen, and myself, the MMA guru. We're going to have backyard MMA. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Me and Bryce Mitchell. When I go fishing with Bryce Mitchell, let me tell you something. The Nina Drama Talking Showerhead. The Nina Drama Talking Showerhead not tell Bryce Mitchell to go out fishing with Hitler. The Nina Drama Talking Showerhead told Bryce Mitchell to go out fishing with Hitler and cut his head off and use it for shark bait, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. That's right. Hey, Clay Guida, I didn't tell Bryce to go out fishing with Adolf Hitler. I told Bryce Mitchell to go out fishing with Adolf Hitler and cut his head off and use it for shark bait, Guida. You hear me? This is the Nina Drama Talking Showerhead. Now, why Nina Drama's Talking Showerhead have a male voice? I don't know. All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, right here, Clay Guida. Big hand Clay Guida, ladies and gentlemen. Right here, a good friend of me, the MMA guru right here, ladies and gentlemen. More deserving, if he's going to stand up, ladies and gentlemen, more deserving to fight John Jones. Down goes Julian Lane, ladies and gentlemen. That's his name. Let me bang, bro. That's it. Julian Lane stands up. Ladies and gentlemen, the MMA guru here. More deserving to fight Tom Aspinall right here, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, let me bang, bro. Julian Lane taking on John Jones at UFC Arkansas. Backyard MMA at Bryce Mitchell's house. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it. Julian Lane, let me bang, takes on John Jones. Backyard MMA. It's called UFC Arkansas at Bryce Mitchell's house. When I get there, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it. Ain't no Tom Aspinall coming around, ladies and gentlemen. In the corner of Julian Lane, the big loser, the MMA whole guy, Mr. Moss himself. The greatest referee of all time, right here, ladies and gentlemen. Andrew Glenn, ladies and gentlemen. Julian Lane. All right. I'm not sure why this guy right here is more deserving to fight Tom Aspinall. Probably because I want to see him get beat. Ladies and gentlemen, MMA guru here. Ladies and gentlemen, not more deserving than Tom Aspinall. I just want to see him get his ass beat, ladies and gentlemen. Jesse on Fire versus Jones, ladies and gentlemen. Let me say that better. I'm starting to sound like Simon Who Can't Talk with shit. I'm the MMA guru, and I hate Simon Feck. Simon Feck sucks balls. You heard it here from the MMA guru, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, right here, taking on John Jones at UFC Arkansas at Bryce Mitchell's house, ladies and gentlemen. Backyard MMA, ladies and gentlemen, right here. Jesse on Fire takes on John Jones. The Tom Aspinall, just stay home, dude. Nobody needs you. Stop crying, little. And leave my cousin alone. I'm the MMA guru, and you need to leave my cousin Mick Parker alone. That's right, you heard it. Yeah, Mick Parker's my cousin. I'm the MMA guru. That's right, you heard it right here. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go around the room, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go to the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Why does the MMA guru keep, ladies and gentlemen? We're going to go around the table before we go to chat, ladies and gentlemen. Right here, you see this right here? This camera can't see it. I still got to do it, ladies and gentlemen. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. We didn't think some of this stuff out, you know what I'm saying? All right, ladies and gentlemen, right here, Nina Drama. To Nina Drama's right, your left, right over here, ladies and gentlemen, Bryce Sucks Mitchell. Over to her left, right here, he used to be Eddie Bravo. He now has changed characters. His name is W.W. Dago. That's Wes Watson from San Diego. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, right here. W.W. Dago, Wes Watson from San Diego. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Over here, next to Big Ben Rothwell, this big thing right over here, that's Big Ben, the BKA fighter. Big Ben Rothwell, ladies and gentlemen. Next to him, Shale Sonnen, ladies and gentlemen. Over here, hugging Joe Rogan is Daniel Cormier, Joe Rogan, John Anik, ladies and gentlemen. Your cameraman right here. You see your cameraman? Conor McGregor, ladies and gentlemen. Dana White, ladies and gentlemen, right there with the money machine. And holding the cables for Conor McGregor right here, The Rock, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what's in the chat. Ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what's in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. It says, we can't see. I don't think we got anything. Maybe nobody's watching. I can't see a thing. Listen, you got to work this out. I can't see the chat. If we're going to be answering chat, you got to make sure I can see it. Or somebody's got to read it to me. It's simple. This has got the worst live stream ever, ladies and gentlemen. I can't even just did that whole episode right there, and it wasn't on full screen. And you've been sitting over there, and you don't tell me. Unbelievable. Right here, ladies and gentlemen. I guess the MMA holes guy left. All right, so these are the good ones, right? These are all for shorts. You know what I'm saying? Now this one right here should do something good. You know, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, the MMA guru here, more deserving to fight John Jones than Tom Aspinall. Ladies and gentlemen, right here, W.W. Dago. That's Wes Watson from San Diego. For all you non-W.W. Dago knowers, ladies and gentlemen. Right here, ladies and gentlemen, the 5'8", ladies and gentlemen, Watson, the 5'8", takes on John Jones, ladies and gentlemen, at UFC Arkansas at Bryce Mitchell's Backyard Brawls, ladies and gentlemen. They're billing it as UFC Arkansas, ladies and gentlemen. Wes Watson, oh, here we go. We're not doing this stuff live anymore. Okay, it's too difficult. What do we got? All right, that's pretty good. Let's turn it. Okay. Yeah, that's right, yeah. The MMA guru here, ladies and gentlemen. Right here, Wes Watson takes on John Jones. Ladies and gentlemen, the 5'8" Wes Watson is going to take on John Jones, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, you heard it. The big 5'8" Wes Watson taking on John Jones. Okay, Minty Bets. Minty Bets, can you please put some odds together on this? John Jones versus Watson, ladies and gentlemen. The WW Dago from Wes Watson, San Diego, ladies and gentlemen. It's another thing, too. Listen to me, guys. There's another thing, too. You gotta, I see the board over there. You gotta get this stuff to me ahead of time. It's too difficult to do some of this stuff. Just winging it from here on. I'm not looking at the board anymore. I'm the MMA guru. I do my show by myself. Yeah, nobody sends me clips and tells me, what's going on. No, I just do it all myself. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, right here, you're going to hear this right here from the MMA guru first, ladies and gentlemen. Wes Watson takes on, we're going to start over, ladies and gentlemen. The MMA guru right here telling you first, you heard it here first from the MMA guru. Wes Watson takes on John Jones this year, 2025, at UFC Arkansas. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Wes Watson takes on John Jones, the 5'8" Wes Watson, WW Dago. That's Wes Watson from San Diego. For all the rest of you, ladies and gentlemen. UFC Arkansas at Bryce Mitchell's. You have Wes Watson, John Jones, ladies and gentlemen, at UFC Arkansas 2025. That's right, you heard it, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been hearing about him. Ladies and gentlemen, he doesn't want to stand up. The MMA guru here, that's right. You're going to hear this first from the MMA guru. When I go to Bryce's house, the MMA guru, when I go to Bryce Mitchell's house, John Jones is going to be there, and Bryce Mitchell will take on John Jones. That's right. Bryce Mitchell takes on John Jones for UFC Arkansas, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. It's going to be held in Bryce Mitchell's backyard. That's right, where the cows run. Where Bryce Mitchell lassoed his wife. She was walking across the field, and Bryce Mitchell lassoed his wife. That's right, walking like a cow, walking across the field. Bryce Mitchell lassoed his wife as she was walking across. That's right, you heard it here first from the MMA guru. Bryce Mitchell did his wife like she DM'd him like the story goes. No, she was walking across the field and he got a rope and he lassoed her. Hog-tied her. Put the bitch in the barn. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Bryce Mitchell takes on John Jones, ladies and gentlemen, at UFC Arkansas. It's going to be a big clown 'em all show. And I don't need nobody. You know what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? That's right. Bryce Mitchell, ladies and gentlemen. Now, these two idiots right here, right? These two guys won't shut their mouth, right? You all seen the video, right? Ladies and gentlemen, the MMA guru here. Ladies and gentlemen, Chael Sonnen and DC take on John Jones. You heard it here first. That's right. UFC Arkansas, ladies and gentlemen. The guys that won't keep their mouth shut, Chael Sonnen and DC, both take on John Jones at UFC Arkansas 2025. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. They can't beat John Jones singly. They can't beat him to either. They're nothing but a big bunch of potatoes, ladies and gentlemen. Big cans. John Jones is going to beat up Daniel Cormier and Chael Sonnen both together at UFC Arkansas. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here from the MMA guru. Is this getting repetitious? I know it is. We're almost done, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, right here, the two thorns in your side, ladies and gentlemen. Chael Sonnen and DC take on John Jones at UFC Arkansas in Bryce Mitchell's backyard. That's right, you heard it. In Bryce Mitchell's backyard, Chael Sonnen and DC take on John Jones. Minty bets. Put on some odds for that, Minty bets. I guarantee you John Jones beats DC and Sonnen up at the same time, ladies and gentlemen. Make easy work of them. They can't keep their mouth shut. Why don't you come out of retirement, DC? Why don't you come out of retirement, Chael Sonnen? And where's Rebecca? Ladies and gentlemen, UFC Arkansas 2025. You heard it here from the MMA guru, ladies and gentlemen. Chael Sonnen and Daniel takes on John Jones, the guy that likes to sniff the back of guys' hairs, ladies and gentlemen. The guy that likes to go to bars and have guys put their hands in his lap, ladies and gentlemen. The married man, ladies and gentlemen, John Jones. The greatest referee of all time, ladies and gentlemen, Glenn. That's right. How about this, ladies and gentlemen? Why is John Jones backwards, ladies and gentlemen? How about this idiot? Why is the MMA guru playing with toys? How come he looks like a South Park character? Here, ladies and gentlemen, I'm the MMA guru, and I'm going to give you something that nobody's going to give you. This here is a secret piece of information here, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, more deserving to fight John Jones than Tom Aspinall. Ladies and gentlemen, you see him right here. Ladies and gentlemen, that can't keep his mouth shut. Joe Rogan, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Joe Rogan takes on John Jones at UFC Arkansas, ladies and gentlemen, in Bryce Mitchell's backyard. When I show up to go fishing with Bryce Mitchell and Hitler, ladies and gentlemen, I'm the MMA guru. That's right. Joe Rogan takes on, that's right, John Jones at UFC Arkansas, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the MMA guru. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Joe Rogan sucks balls. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Rogan sucks balls and Fight Fairy doesn't suck balls. Just letting you know that. Ladies and gentlemen, right here, John Anik takes on John Jones, ladies and gentlemen, at UFC Arkansas. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Toyo tires. That one doesn't work out so well, does it? Ladies and gentlemen, right here, down goes the rock, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get everything up in here. This is the last one. Oh, no, we got to do karma. Ladies and gentlemen. Why won't he stand up, ladies and gentlemen? Let's put his arm up there, man. He was just stand up, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the MMA guru, ladies and gentlemen. More deserving to fight ladies and gentlemen, the MMA guru here. You heard it here first. More deserving to fight John Jones than Tom Aspinall, ladies and gentlemen, right here. The guy that only hires bald, ladies and gentlemen, Dana White. That's right. Dana White takes on John Jones at UFC Arkansas 2025 in Bryce Mitchell's yard. That's right. You heard it. That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, Dana White only hires bald people. That's right. Tom Aspinall is not fight. Listen to me. I'm the MMA guru. Listen to me. Tom Aspinall is not going to fight the MMA guru. He's not going to fight the MMA guru either. Ladies and gentlemen, John Jones is not going to fight. Listen, you guys, you stop having me go out to the railroad tracks, man. It's messing my head up. I told you this before. You heard it here from the MMA guru. John Jones is not going to fight Tom Aspinall. You know why? It's because of the videos I did on Jones. That's right, the MMA guru. The reason you're not getting Tom Aspinall and John Jones is because of me, the MMA guru, guy that did the videos about John Jones. If they're true or not. That's right. So John Jones, stupid Simon Feck had to go and tell John Jones that the MMA guru's cousin is Mick Parkin. And he's been hanging around Tom Aspinall. And then me, the MMA guru, I had to do the videos about John Jones. At the same time, I friended Tom Aspinall. But really, I friended Tom Aspinall back in 2019. That's right. That was fake, that stuff that we just did. That was bad acting on Tom Aspinall's part. Tom Aspinall's been on my chat since 2019 when my cousin went to go train underneath him. My cousin is none other than Mick Parkin, ladies and gentlemen. Simon Feck, John Jones were going to have fun. When Mick Parkin won his last fight, we were going to make fun and say that he's going to fight Mick Parkin. But Mick Parkin can't even win a fight. John Jones is not going to fight Tom Aspinall because John Jones hates the video that the MMA guru did. Can you believe it? That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. So Dana White and Money Machine and John Jones were putting together Nagano. That's right. That's what Simon Feck told me. Simon Feck, I'm the MMA guru. And Simon Feck, the MMA guru, I'm nothing compared to Simon Feck. That's right. We're going to get to chat in a minute because I'm almost done. Listen to me. Dana White only hires bald people. John Jones is not going to fight Tom Aspinall because of the videos that MMA guru, me, did on John Jones. And I'm friends, he knows, with Tom Aspinall. He also knows my cousin trains Mick Parkin underneath Tom Aspinall. That's right. Tom Aspinall knows how to not make money. You know how he does that? By knowing me, the MMA guru. That's right, the MMA guru ruined Tom Aspinall and Jones fight for you. That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the money machine right, Joe. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get the cameraman. This is the last one up of the night, ladies and gentlemen. Sounds like a broken record up here, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, the command. It's got all kinds of stuff going on here. And I'm telling you right now, man. No more, when we're doing all this stuff, no more live with all this stuff right here. It's too much stuff. It's too much going on, man. Down goes hell's bells, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. Come on, man. Come on, work with me, ladies and gentlemen. And look at what I gotta do. This is too much, man. No more live. The MMA guru right here telling you right here that these two guys right here have ruined two guys' careers. Like what's his name? Chandler. What's his name? I met the guy so many times. Mike Chandler. Is that his name? Ladies and gentlemen, the wrecking balls. I'm not the wrecking ball around here like Sean Strickland says. I'm the MMA. I don't go around wrecking stuff. Two people right here that have wrecked people's careers. This guy right here, John Jones, going around trying to wreck Tom Aspinall's career. Just tell him you're not going to fit him, you big idiot. And right here, here's Conor McGregor, another guy, going around wrecking Chandler's career, making him. John Jones says Tom Aspinall is an old man. He's too old to fight John Jones, ladies and gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, right here, here's the fight. More deserving fight John Jones than Tom Aspinall, ladies and gentlemen, right here, Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor takes on John Jones, UFC Arkansas 2025. That's right, you heard it here. Conor McGregor is more deserving to fight John Jones than Tom Aspinall, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be at UFC Arkansas in the backyard of Bryce Mitchell's house, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, you heard it. Ladies and gentlemen, this has got to be the worst live stream we've ever done. We're not doing lives anymore. This is embarrassing. I have to show my face around here. I'm the MMA guru. I'm showing my face around here. Like Simon Feck. Simon Feck goes around and he hides his identity. Why does Simon Feck hide his identity? It doesn't make a bit of sense. Why does Simon Feck go around hiding his identity? And why is Simon Feck the 1 foot cop? Doesn't make a bit of sense, but I'll tell you what. Me, the MMA guru, I'm telling you right now, Robert Whittaker has the biggest penis in the UFC. Robert Whittaker is my favorite fighter. I'm the MMA guru. Don't forget, Robert Whittaker has the biggest penis in the UFC. As a matter of fact, me, the MMA guru, somebody years ago, like 6 years ago, asked me in chat who has the biggest penis in the UFC, and I just blurted off 6 people's names like that. How many straight guys can do that? How many straight guys can rattle off who has a big penis and who doesn't? Nobody asked the MMA guru who has a small penis, but he's got to give that too. Eventually, the MMA guru says that Robert Whittaker has the biggest penis in the UFC. Also says that Conor McGregor has a big one, biggest penis too. I'm MMA guru, and I say that Conor McGregor has a huge penis, and Robert Whittaker has a bigger penis than Conor McGregor. I'm the MMA guru, and I say T.J. Dillashaw and Henry Cejudo and Max Holloway and John Jones have a small penis, and Daniel Cormier. 6 years ago, somebody asked the MMA guru who has the biggest penis in the UFC, and he rattles 7 off like that. How many straight guys can do that? Unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the MMA guru right here. Simon Feck is the best. That's right, you heard it. Simon Feck is the best in the business. You heard it here. Conor McGregor, John Jones, London, the backyard of Bryce Mitchell's house. You heard it here. UFC Arkansas 2025. Conor McGregor versus John Jones, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah! 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 Because Nagano, he's got some trouble. Dana White and John Jones were working on Nagano. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen. But, right here, there you go. That's the result. Down goes John Jones. Conor McGregor wins UFC Arkansas, ladies and gentlemen. I can't do the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Because let me tell you why I can't do the chat. Because I'm the MMA guru and I get paid for this. Okay? Simon Feck is not even Simon Feck. What does he have? Like 171 subscribers? He's not even monetized. You can't even give super chats or nothing. Ladies and gentlemen. I'm not reading chat. I'm the MMA guru. Get paid to read chat. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Simon Feck's the best in the business, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. Where's Simon Feck? Where's that Simon Feck at? I'm going to kick his ass. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies